Hello and welcome back to the One Obsession at a Time podcast. I am your host Anastasia Lara and I am still on my alternate day fasting journey. If you're following along, you have come with me almost from the very beginning. I did think I'd get a head start so that I could share what I was learning with you and hopefully you could follow along as well. So I'd love to hear if you have started alternate day fasting, how you're going, are you enjoying it, are you having any success, what groups are you following, what books are you reading? I'd love to know. So today I want to talk about a book that I circled back to that I chose not to read initially, mainly because the book is The Every Other Day Diet and it's written by Krista Varady, I believe is how I would say her name. And the idea of this book is the same as alternate day fasting, but she does a modified fast. So that means on your fasting day, you eat 500 calories or up to 500 calories. And I was listening to Graham Curry on the Fasting Highway podcast. And he did say, if you are having 500 calories, then really you're not doing a 36-hour fast. You're doing 2 21-hour fasts if you're breaking it up. I think they were the numbers. And, that is just so true. It is not a form of fasting that I wanted to do because I actually want the benefits of autophagy. And I believe that the every other day diet is mainly aimed at losing weight. And I was thinking, I really do want to address these things like some of the sleep apnea that I have, some of the pins and needles in my hands. And I'm not sure, maybe they are just weight loss things. Maybe if I lost weight, those things would go away. But also maybe my body would benefit from autophagy. And I am kind of an all or nothing girl, hence why I love a good obsession. And so I thought, no, I'm just going to stick with my 36 hours true ADF and do that. But I would also read this book. And so I'm going to read a little extract here from you. This is the introduction. And she says, diets don't work. You've probably read that statement dozens of times, if not hundreds. But even though diets don't work has become a truism, it's not true. The truth is, diets don't work when you diet every day. Diets don't work because no one can endure day after day of deprivation, cut off from the foods they love. Diets don't work because no one can follow their complex and artificial rules for weeks and months on end. Diets don't work because they're unworkable. But the reasons why traditional diets don't work are the same reasons why the every other day diet does work, because it does away with daily deprivation and hard to follow rules. Amen. That's what I love. She goes on. You just don't have to take my word for it, because unlike other diets, the every other day diet has years of rigorous scientific research to back up its claims. As a PhD in nutritional science and an associate professor of nutrition at the University of Illinois, I've spent the last 10 years conducting weight loss studies on modified alternate day fasting, a simple and science-proven approach to quick, permanent weight loss and lifelong weight maintenance. I've distilled that decade of systematic, successful research into a practical plan, which I'm presenting for the first time in this book, The Every Other Day Diet. I can't remember where I read this, but somewhere in this book, she does basically say, she is the most qualified person to ever study this diet, and her research says that the eating 500 calories on your down day is just as effective for losing weight as the every other day. So where you are having an up day and a down day, like what I am currently doing. So she also says that protects you from binging on feast day, which I do believe. I do think it's possible to still eat a lot, but honestly, I don't feel like eating an awful lot on my feast days. And if I do have something naughty, like for instance on Halloween night, I had two Nutella muffins. So here in France, they have these branded Nutella muffins. I had two of those and, I felt unwell. I didn't feel good. So that just goes to show, doesn't it, how my insulin must have just gone through the roof eating those because of the number of days when my insulin had just been so much lower than normal. So she goes through in this book a lot of studies that she did. She talks about how mice lost weight through some of this research. There was a magic number where she said 25% of your calories were absolutely fine for a modified fast. And she did say, well, maybe they would be better off not having those calories. And a fellow doctor, Dr. Eric Ravusin, PhD, he said, don't even bother testing people with that because people just will not stick to it. And I think probably to a degree he is correct that people won't stick with it, but I also think there are some people who will stick with 0 calories, and for those people it will work. Okay, so she had already planned to allow her participants to eat 500 calories on fast day, and her conversation with Dr. Ravusin convinced her that she'd made the right decision. For successful every other day dieting, you need to be on a modified fast, so that's 500 calories, not a total fast. You need to eat a small meal during the day so you can stay balanced emotionally and mentally, interact with people without blowing a fuse, and get through your workday efficiently and effectively. I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's been tough. So, for instance, this week, I just started my 3rd week of alternate day fasting, and Monday was a down day. So yesterday was a down day. And on Sunday, before my down day, we had friends over for drinks. And I think I drank a bottle of champagne and lots of nibbles, lots of cheeses, salami, those sorts of things. And to be honest, yesterday, which is the 3rd week of ADF, my fast day almost felt like my first fast day. I had headaches. I did struggle a little bit with just feeling a bit blur. I didn't really get hungry, but I could really tell that I was fasting, and I could tell that I hadn't set myself up for my fast in the most productive way that I could have done. Okay, today I'm back on a feast day, which feels really nice. I broke my fast this morning with some Greek yogurt, and then I was still hungry, so not long after that I actually ate some leftover chicken breast from last night's dinner. And this evening I'm just going to make a cottage pie for dinner, and I might even have a little bit of dessert and as I go into my fast day tomorrow. But I will try and also make sure I have more electrolytes tonight. Okay, so she's gone into talking about all of the science here that she has done. And she found in her studies that over a period of 2 months, her subjects or her participants lost an average of 12 pounds of weight. They lost fat and not muscle, which is amazing. Thing about ADF is that the majority of the weight loss is actual fat. Their BMI fell. There was very little cheating. Their cholesterol plummeted, which was amazing. Dieters had lower blood pressure. They also had a slower heart rate and a stronger heart. And so she found that on this diet, this is the one where they have 500 calories, so probably a healthy meal for dinner on their fast day, and then they just feast the next day. She found it was generally a successful diet. They successfully lost weight, and they generally improved their health. The next things that I really liked in this book was a section called 8 Tips to Make Diet Day Work for You. And tip 1 was weigh yourself every day. I have been weighing myself probably every other day, but I've definitely found that motivating. And it's good to see that your weight does fluctuate, but on average, my weight is coming down. So I'm really happy with that. Apparently, according to Krista, daily weighing doubles your weight loss. In a 2-year study of more than 1,200 obese people, those who weighed themselves daily lost more than twice as much weight as those who weighed themselves monthly. So I think I will switch it up now and make sure that I am weighing myself daily. And another benefit from that is that people actually average 347 fewer calories per day when they weigh themselves that day. It's almost like I love a little bit of energy work and a little bit of manifestation. It's almost like weighing yourself daily sets the intention for the day. Oh yeah, I love that. Okay, if people didn't weigh themselves regularly, 4.5 times more weight was regained. Amazing. Okay, so that is an action step for us. If you are doing ADF, we are going to be weighing ourselves daily. She had another tip, which was to eat lunch or dinner but not breakfast. I'm not quite sure why that is. I think it's probably because lunch and dinner are the more social meals of our day. I do like to sit down with my husband and my children at the end of the day, and it's just a really good way to check in on everybody. And you can read more about that in her book if you want to get a copy of this book. Tip 3, do not count your calories, or count them but don't put a big amount of weight into it. Make a plan for the day and stick with it. And don't eat mini meals. So she doesn't really mention this here about mini meals. The problem here is that we tend to underestimate calories. Whereas some of the research that I've read by Jason Fung and Megan Ramos, for example, would say the reason that you don't eat mini meals is because you are spiking your insulin. And I must say that is something I found that she doesn't really cover in this book a lot, is the spiking of insulin. So I thought that was really interesting. Some other ones is, another tip is to make sure that you are focusing on fat. And I read that to help your insulin stay very balanced when you have a plate of food in front of you, you can go back and listen to more about this in the How to Eat episode I recorded previously. Eat your fat first, and then your protein, and then your carbohydrates, because that will keep the insulin response low. And that, I believe, is what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep our insulin low. Okay, some final tips from Krista. Drink a glass or 2 of water before a meal to feel fuller and less hungry. Drink more water, burn more calories. You drink more water to lose more weight. So stay hydrated. Skip the diet soda and avoid artificial sweeteners. They might make you hungry. So I don't have those on my fast day because they're not allowed. But on my feast day, I will have those because I'm feasting. She goes into there about artificial sweeteners. A cup of joe or tea a day can keep the hunger away. I really do lean on coffee, and I love my coffee, so I am going to keep doing that. She says to chew up your hunger with sugar-free gum. This is what I don't get. How come drinking a sugar-free soft drink is not allowed, but chewing sugar-free gum is? I don't understand that. She says people feel less hungry and burn more calories when they're chewing gum. Some more smart times to chew gum. I really did think because sugar-free gum has sweeteners in it that it wasn't allowed. So I suppose this is kind of why I'm taking this book with a grain of salt. This is what she says works for everybody. I think because I have white-knuckled it through so many 36-hour fasts now, and I'm in week 3, I really don't want to do anything that relaxes the rules, because I know once I relax the rules a little bit, I'm going to start bending them here and bending them there, and that's how I got into this trouble in the first place, really. I am not a little bit overweight because I'm good at following rules. Okay, exercising. I'm not at the... Okay, yes, so I'm not quite at that exercise point yet. I will get there, but that's not my focus at the moment. Okay, now this is where this book lost me. It went straight into recipes. I don't know. I think we know enough about how to eat. I really do. And I think any time of day you can find yourself a meal that has a healthy protein, a healthy fat, and a healthy carbohydrate. And if you don't have those things at home, it's easy to Google, it's easy to go to the shops. I don't think the problem has been what we're eating. I really don't. I do think how often we're eating, so when we're eating, and the how of how we eat, which is sometimes we snack all day and things like that. I think that has a greater impact than what we are eating. And for the purpose of my experiment, I am really not restricting any foods. So I kind of got to that bit and went, hang on a minute, this is meant to be easy. Don't go giving me a whole load of recipes. I don't need them. The other problem I have with recipe books is quite often they are for an American audience, and I'm an Australian living in France, so I can't get half of this stuff. Like, for instance, it says here, entree, Newman's Own beef bolognese. I can't buy that. Boston Market Country fried chicken. Can't buy that. Jimmy Dean bacon breakfast bowl. No, can't do that either. So I found the recipes in this book, a little bit of just boring filler, to be honest. Lots of processed snacks here that she's listed out. So that is my assessment of the Every Other Day Diet book by Krista Verardi. I think there are some really good takeaways from this, and that is that, every other day diet does work. If you are struggling with true ADF, which is where you're not eating on your down day, then maybe eating a 500 calorie meal at the end of the day is going to help you. This book is mainly about weight loss. So there's not a big focus there on insulin resistance. I haven't seen where she's mentioned autophagy. So you do really need to think, what do I want to get out of alternate day fasting? And for me, I want to lose a little bit of weight, but I also want to help my body repair itself. And I'm not sure if that will just happen if I lose weight. Maybe I do need the autophagy process in my body to cure the things that I want to cure. I found the book easy to read. Like I said, it has lots of effective steps in there and lots of tips, but it's also got lots of recipes, and I found that they really weren't relevant to me and where I live, and the foods that were listed there just aren't available to me. So it became a little bit of an empty space in the book for me. Yes, so there is another book on my ADF journey that I have read. It is a good one. I am still motivated. Week 3, a few more fasts to go. I am going to start weighing myself daily, and that is going to be the big takeaway from this book. I'm going to use that, and I hope you can use that tip as well. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.